Hey friends, what's up? Saturday, January 21, 11:30 a.m. here in New York City, 37 degrees Fahrenheit. And we're on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, York Avenue, 86th Street. Gonna do a big walk today.
I'd say it's about 12 hours.
It's good to see everybody. Obviously, say hi in the chat. Let me know where you're watching from. Walking east right now, towards the water. Paul Greenwell's here. Good to see you. It's a nice day, a little cloudy, a little cold, but not super bad. So we're okay so far. Walking again along 86th Street from York to the east. And there's a cool little lane over here called Henderson Place that I want to show you guys, right by Schurz Park, which, if you know Schurz Park for anything, it's probably that it's the home of Gracie Mansion, which is where the mayor lives. But let's take a look at Henderson Place first, because it's pretty cool. Right next to East End Avenue. One of those avenues a lot of folks probably have never even heard of. But here's Henderson Place, little historic district. And how cool is this? Owen Meyer's here, good to see you. Adelina's here. I love these old style homes. They have their own little private drive here on Henderson Place. And let me show you the other side, because the East End side is also really beautiful. But let me, before I guess we get there, let me just show you some of the roofs. Oh, I love it. So we're on the easternmost part of the Upper East Side. And like I was saying, let me just show you guys some of the other side of these buildings. They're so beautiful. Robojax is here. Hey, good to see you. Thanks again for your comment. Enjoying the ferry rides with us. Let me cross over while we have the light. And then we'll head into Schurz Park. I'll show you guys Gracie Mansion, again, where the mayor lives. Sue K is here. Santa Fe, New Mexico. Yeah. Yeah, there's a handful of these private streets, not too many of them. We may actually see another, depending on, so we're gonna go along the water today. Lisa asked me where I was headed today. I said I want to try to get to the Brooklyn Bridge, which is a hike from here. So we actually got to get moving. Because she said, I'd like to get out while there's still some sun. So let's go take a quick look at Gracie Mansion, since I mentioned it. And then we're going to start our crazy hike. See if we can get to the Brooklyn Bridge with battery life. It's a good question. I do have an extra battery, but if we have to use that, we'll lose the mic. So we're just gonna hightail it, see what happens. But let's take a quick glance over at Gracie Mansion. Yuri's here. It's nice to see everybody. Happy Saturday. And of course, we will schedule and life permitting try to be live tomorrow for the Lunar New Year celebrations. So stay tuned. Remember to subscribe, hit the notification bell. So this is beautiful Gracie Mansion, mayor's residence here in New York City. Not bad digs if you can swing it. Tons of security, as you might imagine. Secure gate, NYPD all around. And love these trees. Obviously during springtime this looks even more splendid. But how beautiful is that? There's a handful of houses like that still in New York City. There's one in, what would it be, Kips Bay, I think. There's some downtown, like the West Village, and some in the more northern parts of Manhattan, like Gimbal Place, Sylvan. One day we'll get up there. Have it in old videos, but we'll have to go back one day. That would be fun to hang with you guys there. But let's head down onto the Greenway. This is the East River Greenway. And like I said, the goal is to get to the Brooklyn Bridge. I don't know if we're going to make it, but we're going to hightail it and see if we can do it. Paul enjoys the little NYPD car, isn't that funny? Prince Ice is here. Yeah, I'm hoping it's a good Lunar New Year for everybody, Chinese New Year. I'm hopeful, again, life permitting, down to the Chinatown area tomorrow, Lower East Side, and try to share some of the festivities, get some of the lion dances and stuff. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully that'll work out. But for today, we're going to try to walk the East River Greenway and see if we can get to the Brooklyn Bridge. If anybody watches our channel, I posted some of the East River from here to 59th Street. A little bit of Sutton Place recently. And our good friend Dutch Moz, everybody go follow Dutch Moz. Did a little bit of this walk down to 34th Street. So we're going to try to go a little beyond 34th. We're going to try to take it all the way down. There's a handful of detours along the way, of course. But we're going to see some of the construction that they're doing, which will eventually connect the East River Greenway. Robojack says, what are the two bridges? I think you meant the ones behind us. Is it connecting Randall's Island and something? I forget. If anybody wants to check the map, I would appreciate that, actually. Across the water right here is Roosevelt Island. There's the famous Roosevelt Island lighthouse. We've done a number of walks on Roosevelt Island. We're due for a new one soon, but I want to wait for a brighter day. But one of these days we'll do Roosevelt Island. Oh, my watch is pinging me, one sec. So again, this is the East River Greenway. Next to us is Carl Schurz Park in the old German Yorkville neighborhood of the Upper East Side. It's a really beautiful park. Lots of gorgeous trees, and again, during spring it really explodes in color with all the flowers. Not as much color right now, but really beautiful nonetheless. And this particular stretch of the Greenway is called John Finley Walk. In the distance is the 59th Street Bridge, aka Ed Koch, aka Queensboro. Also has the Roosevelt Island tram. And I've noticed these pigeons love this little hangout spot. Check this out. It's just like the movie Birds. And to our right, pickleball. I guess that's the new trend these days. Patricia says, I love that in NYC you get the chance to really walk and look at nature instead of driving. Yeah, I'm trying to spend more time on the waterfront, specifically for that reason. We get stuck in the, easy to get stuck in the middle of the city with your day-to-day. So we're trying to purposefully spend more time along the waterfront. And if you're familiar with my channel, you know I like long walks. So it's a cool way to get really long ones in that are not as interrupted by all the intersections and cars. Sean is here. Gabriella. John is here. Dusty Turing. Good to see everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Very dramatic clouds today. Again, we're on the East River Greenway. That's Roosevelt Island. And we're going to hightail it down a bunch of miles and see if we can beat our battery to the Brooklyn Bridge.
She's not. She's probably would be.
We'll see how far we get, folks. We'll see how far we get. It's been about 15 minutes, so we started at 11:30, so it should be 11:45 in the morning. And it was 38 degrees, 37, 38 degrees when we started, Fahrenheit. So just a couple degrees Celsius. So we'll be able to walk some of this, but we'll have to cut into the city for certain parts due to the construction detours along the Greenway on the east side. The west side, you can really walk from the tip top of Manhattan all the way down uninterrupted. That is not the case currently with the East River Greenway, but they're, like I said, they're doing construction to improve the situation. It's going to take a long time, but it is getting better. Preston's here, good to see you. And as I said, this particular stretch of the East River Greenway is called the John Finley Walk, and there's a nice little sign showing John Finley walking. There's John Finley taking his walk. So we're going to head down. And then I think we have to actually leave the park right there at 71st Street, because as you can see, there's a closure at 73rd. So we're going to take that pedestrian pathway. So this is a pretty short section right here. but we're going to do as much of the Greenway as we can. Detours included, I guess. There's probably a straighter path, but we'll see as we go. Noble Sweetness is here. Yeah, Preston, don't worry about it. A lot of people say that. I guess we must sound somewhat alike. But we are not business and finance experts like Tom. But it's a fun little New York City walking community. I did get to meet Tom very briefly one night during the holidays. Hopefully one of these days we'll share a walk. That would be fun. Next to us is the FDR Drive, which is what's so noisy. I do have the wind cover on my mic, but if it sounds like I'm raising my voice, it's because to me it's incredibly loud with the cars. Prince Ice, thank you for that. Yeah, please say hi. Try to have a friendly chat here. Lots of good vibes, lots of good people who share a love of New York City. Don't be shy. So we're going to take this little pathway up because the Greenway ends up ahead at a couple more blocks down. So we'll take this up and we'll see we saw Henderson Place, which is a little off the grid street. And when we head in, we'll see another one similar to that, which is called Cherokee Place, which is one of the best named streets in the city, Cherokee Place. Home to these beautiful apartments, which we looked up last time we were over here. We've done this before. We looked up the Cherokee Place apartments. I think they were originally for tuberculosis, folks impacted during big tuberculosis outbreak. So they all have these beautiful, what do you call them? The places where you can sit outside. My brain. Little kiddo really destroying our sleep, although he did sleep a little better last night. But you'll see what I mean in a moment. Touring different places, going to be here for a big bike race. That's cool. Nasir will always love New York. Jeff L's here. Jeff loved walking by the West River down at 11th. Yeah, we've done the west side probably much more than the east side because, as you'll see today, there are just tons of detours you have to take on the east side. Plus you're next to the FDR for a lot of it, but they each have their charms in their own way. So up ahead is the Cherokee Place and the apartments I was just mentioning, the balconies. That's the word losing words like balconies, not a good sign. Baby brain. Next to us is John Jay Park. Beautiful little... Turing says it's a bike tour, not a race. Good to know. Dusty, thank you. Like I was saying, I love this sign, Cherokee Place. You just, when you're so used to the grid, When you get some interesting names like that, they really stick out. Let's walk down here. Let me just show you. The architecture of this apartment complex is so beautiful. And it has one of my favorite features in New York City, which is an above ground walkway, sky bridge. Love a sky bridge. Louis Bailey's here. Hey, good to see you. Yeah, Jeff, we're about as far east in Manhattan as you can get. Gonna head down to 76. We have to cut into the city a touch because of the detour. And then we'll be able to head back to the waterfront eventually. And let's see, so we'll get a little more waterfront up here. Then we have to head it back into the city around the UN. And then south of the UN we can continue until Stuyvesant town. There's a detour. Then we can go back to the waterfront until the Lower East Side. Then there's a detour. And then after that detour, I think it's a straight shot from there. But like I said, the west side, no detours. East side, nothing but detours.
I wasn't around him. That would have been hard. I don't know.
Harmich is here. Pasadena, California. Jeff says 33 degrees here in Oregon. Yeah, it's about 37 here. I think it's going to go up to the low 40s though. And despite the clouds and not really any sun, it's not super cold today here. It's funny how the same temperature feels different every day. And for those keeping track at home, still basically no snow. We had some flurries that I showed you guys, but other than the flurries, no snow. The snow watch continues. Prince Ice, the detour will be today's trademark, exactly. So this is York Avenue. We started near York Avenue. We're back to York Avenue. Detour Central. I'm trying to remember exactly where we get to turn back on. I'll recognize it, but trying to remember the streets near the medical center. Lily's here. Good to see you. And we are trying to take a pretty long walk today, so I'm probably going to miss some of the chats. It's not intentional. I don't mean to offend. We're just moving quick today. Jeff says, is the Seinfeld restaurant near there? You mean Tom's Diner, which is on the west side. Actually, it's in near Columbia University, so it's in the Morningside Heights neighborhood. Broadway and what, 113, 114, something like that. Very far from us. I have, if you search my old videos for Broadway, I have a fairly recent one where we go by Tom's Diner. Maybe a month or two ago. So again, this is York Avenue. York Avenue becomes Sutton Place, which is one of the most expensive stretches in New York City. Gotta cut across. If anybody's familiar with auction houses, there's one coming up. Sotheby's, I believe. There's the time and the temperature, 11:54 a.m., 39 degrees Fahrenheit. There's actually a nice little park down at the end of the street here, 72nd Street, with some good views. But we're going straight today. We'll see that another time. Yeah, we'll get back on the Greenway because it'll pull us back onto Sutton up ahead. Anyways. And I want to be near the water today. Diana Lee, good to see you. Yeah, this is Sotheby's. Let's see. Lino says, for the 1 Madison Avenue construction, they removed the classic sky bridge off the MetLife Tower that connects it to the main building. So depressed. Yeah, I love those sky bridges. They just don't make stuff like that anymore. Okay, I think this is our turn. This is 71st Street. I think this is our turn. Well, I don't know that I ever noticed that. There's a San Ambroise there. Probably mispronouncing it, but it's a little Italian spot. Super expensive though. Super, super expensive. I'm not very surprised that there would be a San Ambroise connected to a Sotheby's. And then obviously this is a big medical center. And just south of us, and we'll walk by it on the water side, is the Rockefeller University. We know somebody who went there doing medical research. Jeff, we live on the east side, Upper East Side. So that's why we usually start our walks from that general vicinity. But we try to walk all over the city. Is our good friend British Grey on by any chance? I don't know if anybody saw her. Oh, is S. Fields here? Good to see you. Colleen is here. Hey. If anybody knows if British Grey is here, let me know. Yep. This beautiful little signage is our entrance to the Esplanade. Here's a sky bridge, not as charming a sky bridge. Thank you, S. Fields. Got an update for her when she gets on, if she gets on. To our left, a couple of New York City ferries. One of my favorite ways to get around the city. In fact, I posted this morning one of our ferry rides. So if you're interested in that, please check that out. All right, back on the waterfront. Again, overlooking the 59th Street Bridge. and Roosevelt Island, really beautiful. And we'll start to have views of Midtown Manhattan and beyond in our distance, along with Long Island City. And again, that noise is FDR. This is the River Sprinter of the New York City ferry system. Oh, I love the ferry. For $4, it's one of the best ways to get around New York City. And I'll try to get more boat ride videos soon. Thank you, S. Fields, very kind. My favorite part of that video, and I would love it if you guys in the comments put the, tag your favorite sites. But there's a part where, as the boat docks at 34th Street, I just kind of held the camera still as the boat turned, and framed right next to the Copper Building was the Empire State Building, just popping into view very slowly. It was really beautiful. Really happy with how that turned out. Bone Fiasco, yep, this is, again, if anybody's familiar with our good friend Dutch Maz, he's been here frequently for the search for woolly mammoth bones, tusks, supposedly dumped into the East River decades ago. But I'm a little skeptical. Still, it would be cool to dig around down there. There's the Roosevelt Island tram. Hey Joanne, good to see you. We love the Roosevelt Island tram. That one is the price of a New York City subway ride, but you have to use a Metro card. It doesn't take the tap and pay yet for some obscure reason. RoboJack says, 2 good river videos, but I preferred the one with the jazz soundtrack. Yeah, I took the same ride and posted 2 versions of it. The one from today was the actual audio, and a few days ago I posted it with jazz music instead. So you can pick whichever version you think you might enjoy. And I have, somebody was asking me about this Terry, I think. I don't know if Terry's on. We have lots of playlists. So if you're looking for lots of things to watch, you can press play on any of our playlists and they'll just continue one video after the other. There's the tram going back to Roosevelt Island. So there's 2 trams, one next to the other. Jeff asks, are we able to do subway ride streams or no internet? No internet. And I have one subway ride video, but I'll be honest, I think people on the subway really don't like when people are filming. So, from time to time, like in certain parts of Brooklyn or Queens, you're above ground and the views are there. I might take like little short videos, but I think I'm done with the subway ride videos, to be honest. It was one thing during the pandemic when it just, there were so few people. It was kind of notable and interesting. But yeah, I don't think I'm going to do much more of that. I would love to like just strap the camera to the window, but I feel like that's just a recipe for a bad interaction. Oh, there's Terry. Yep. Hey, good to see you. Yeah, that's if you're looking for lots of content, just hit up any of the playlists, press play. Or you can create your own in YouTube. There's a feature to make your own playlist. So you can pull together all the boat rides, or every time we've walked Park Avenue, whatever interests you. But hey, good to see you. So this little barge, this is where Dutch was filming the dig, the bone dig. But as you can see, the current is so fast. I don't know how much activity there can be. It's probably not safe. There's a nice little dog run over here. There's two actually, one for the small dogs, one for the bigger. No small dogs today. Or actually there is a small dog, they just put him in the big one. I guess they're confident in their pup. And this is Andrew Haswell Green. If you want to look up the cool little roller coaster looking thing up ahead. This is a little public park. We're going to take this little construction pathway up. So feel free to look up Andrew Haswell Green if you want to read and look up the cool little roller coaster thing. It's such a cool feature. Abhishek is here. So this used to be, I think like what do you call it? I forget the word for it, but it's sort of where the barges would unload garbage. And I guess when it was decommissioned, they took advantage of the structure and added the kind of fake roller coaster feature. It's not a real roller coaster, you can't ride it, but they made it look just like a roller coaster. And I think it's such this old unused piece of infrastructure. Gettysburg Ma'am, $5. Hey, thank you so much for the support. Always love hanging on out. Thank you 5 times over. Isn't this cool? It's really fun to see from the water. And there's the ferry taking off. It sounds like they're doing construction beneath us, which they might be. Yeah, let me show you guys what's happening over here. So, as you can see, we have to exit the waterfront, go over to Sutton Place. But in the near future, we won't have to do that because of this. They are finally, years in the making, connecting the east side waterfront. Oh, there's the construction that's going on. But look how beautiful it's going to be. It's going to be so nice. Oh, bird. Got right close to us. So yeah, this has been years in the making. We are so excited for this to come. Because over here, there are some waterfront parks on Sutton Place, but there's no connected path. So this is brand new, being constructed right in front of our eyes, literally. But let's head in. We have to go to Sutton Place next. S. Field says, may I say, about effing time. Yeah, no kidding. Like I was saying before, the entire west side is connected, basically uninterrupted from the top of Manhattan to the bottom. I say basically because there's some public-private stuff. Sometimes there's construction. Sometimes it narrows. But you can walk the entire length of Manhattan on the west side. You really can't do that on the east side without all of these detours. So, as fans of the waterfront, we are so excited. But let's head into the city once again. We'll cut down Sutton Place. We may go see our pig, but other than that, I think we're going to walk pretty quickly and get over to First Avenue, which is the next detour, until we get to 37th Street. So we're at 59 now, and the next entrance back onto the Greenway is at 37. So we have a bit of a hike. But I think we should go see our pig. Gotta go see our pig. So as we cross 59th Street, York Avenue becomes Sutton Place. And again, want to give a big thank you to Gettysburg Man. We really do appreciate your support. Thanks for being here with us. Sutton Square, which has some beautiful views of the 59th Street Bridge. But we're going to turn on 57 and I'll show you guys our pig. Joanne says, we have a pig? We sure do. Has anybody been to Florence, Italy? You'll know what I'm talking about. Lino says, I think the Garbo apartment is for sale. Oh, that's pretty cool. There's some exceptionally beautiful apartments over here. All right, let me see if I can show you the pig without going all the way down. I would love to go down, but we are in a little bit of a rush today. We're trying to walk all the way to the Brooklyn Bridge. Yeah, there's our pig. There's our pig. There's our pig. Everybody, enjoy the pig. Love that guy. But we're in a little bit of a hurry today. Yeah, you know you're in a fancy neck of the woods when you get a private police box. Yeah, S. Fields is right. There's a lot of, it's high income area, so certainly many wealthy residents, but also folks connected to the United Nations. We'll get to towards the United Nations when we turn into First Avenue. And if you want a more from First Avenue. I posted a 2-hour walk of First Avenue. We had the beautiful weather that day. The sky was unreal. Joanne says, that is a wild boar, I'd say. Yeah, you're right. Just using some shorthand, but you are correct. Weather for New York City. Conditions cloudy with temperatures of 41. Wind blowing 6 miles an hour. Current humidity 51%. Yeah, it's pretty nice today, I gotta say. It's pretty comfortable. Wish it wasn't so cloudy. Wish it was a little brighter. But it's a pretty comfortable day. No complaints. As Field says, I think this area is going to become quite popular with live streamers. It is. So if you guys haven't noticed, but you probably have if you're on a lot of streams, the Midtown area has just become impossible. It's just buffer city. And it's funny because a lot of the tourists left after the holidays. So it's not that I don't think it's because of congestion. So I don't know what's going on in Midtown, but I do think you're going to start to see a lot of live streamers go beyond Midtown. And this is a beautiful neighborhood for sure. And you got the water, the bridge, Roosevelt Island. So yeah, I think you're right. But yeah, I don't know what's going on in Midtown. Something's up. And this is the construction for the entryway to the Greenway we were just looking at. This is going to be so great when it finally opens. Ah, Tanisha's here. Hey, good to see you. RJ's here. Lots of friends in the house. Good to see everybody. Ooh, let me pause for a second. One of my favorite places, Roosevelt Island, Four Freedoms Park, named after FDR and his Four Freedoms speech, but you have the smallpox hospital and the Pepsi Cola sign. Beautiful. Four Freedoms Park is truly a beautiful park, but just one word of note is if you're planning to go to Roosevelt Island, look up the hours. It's not open every day. The island is open, but the Four Freedoms Park is not open every day, so just be careful with that. I feel like, somebody could correct me if I'm wrong, but I think like it's at least closed Monday and Tuesday, I think. And if you get really excited to go there, you take the tram. I mean, you'll still have a great time, but I could imagine being disappointed if it was closed. This is 53rd Street, so this is our next detour. We'll walk down First Avenue until 37th Street, then we can get back on the water. And once we get to 37th Street, we'll call this the Walking Commuter Special, because that is Gabe's neck of the woods. He owns the live stream rights to that section. But let's head down first. We'll get some nice views of the United Nations, which I imagine is going to look pretty interesting with the dramatic clouds we have today. So let's go see what's up over there. And again, if you enjoy First Avenue, I posted a 2-hour walk down First Avenue the other day. crossed, nobody coming. Sierra wants to know when we'll go to Bryant Park. Ooh, I'm kind of overdue for a 42nd Street walk, so we'll do that soon. We'll do that soon. Today we're trying to get to the Brooklyn Bridge if we can. So not today, but one of these days. Terry says, is this area mostly residential? So it's kind of a mix. If you go just a little bit west, you have a lot of the Midtown office towers, especially near 3rd Avenue, Lexington, and beyond. Around here, pretty residential until we get to the UN, and then it's all UN. And again, directly around here, so close to the UN, a lot of the diplomats have homes. Ooh, the wind is starting to pick up. To the left of us is Beekman and Mitchell Places. Really beautiful. Again, where a lot of the diplomats live. You can only imagine how much some of those places are worth. Really incredible townhomes. Here's a little view. Gorgeous. Really gorgeous. Dusty Cole calling the dogs. I was saying how comfortable I felt, but now that the wind is blowing, it's starting to feel cold again. Okay, as we cross 49th and 48th, we'll start to enter the UN sector. Denise is here, good to see you. Sally. S. Field says, it's a nice place to live, near many things, can find quiet spots, grocery stores, bars, small businesses. Yeah, I mean, the residential areas in the city, you know, you have those ground floor storefronts, which, you know, laundromat, restaurant. Ooh, pulled somebody over. Wonder what's up. Maybe speeding through the tunnel. Maybe they went the wrong way. I don't know. Here we are entering the United Nations. One area up ahead we'll see that I did tour as an apartment hunt is Tudor City. But it's one of the funniest things in the world. We'll talk about it as we get closer. But if anybody knows what a Murphy bed is, that's the amount of space you might get in a Tudor City apartment. Just enough space for a Murphy bed. Lots of beautiful art at the UN. Probably donated by individual nations and nonprofits and stuff. Really beautiful. Sierra says nobody there. Yeah, it's pretty, you know, it's quiet. New York is, folks like to sleep in probably a little more than people think.
What is it?
It's the city that never sleeps until the weekend, in which case you sleep in and then you go to a, you know, 2 p.m. brunch. There it is. I think it's a stunning building, and it's really, really, really from the water. If you take the New York City ferry, you get some incredible views of the UN, and then behind it, the Chrysler Building, Empire in the distance. You get some really, really amazing views. So, I should elaborate. So a Murphy bed is, you typically use it in a situation where you have so little space in your apartment that you have to literally put the bed away to make room for your living space. So it's a bed that folds into the wall. But I told myself, if I got to the point where that was the only, you know, solution, then I could no longer afford to live in New York City. That was my sign. The other thing about Tudor City that you'll start to notice is, let me show you guys. Considering it's on the waterfront, look how few windows there are facing in this direction. And if you saw Dutch, he explained this as well. But this area on this side wasn't always direct access to the waterfront. It was meat processing plants, the old abattoirs. And so they didn't install nearly as many windows because the sight and the smell is not something you wanted. But check this out. How is that for a view? Beautiful Chrysler Building. His photos here, good to see you. Denise, my pleasure. We're gonna head over now to our next Greenway access point, which is 37th Street. This is 42nd Street right here. And like I said, we're overdue for a 42nd Street walk, so stay tuned, we'll get one soon. Right nearby, just across the intersection here, is the Ford Foundation, and their lobby is basically has a forest. It's one of the most beautiful lobbies in New York City, and it's public. It's a public plaza indoors, but it's basically a forest. It's incredible. Let me get you one before we head across. Let me get you one last view of the Chrysler Building. Along 42nd Street here, but we have the light now. So we're gonna head down to 37th Street. And as we go down, we will get one more pretty remarkable view. But again, check out these buildings. You would think they'd be covered, you know, floor to ceiling windows and stuff. But again, this was all meat processing. And nobody would want the sights or the smells of the processing So it's really funny how the city keeps changing decade by decade. Liz is here, good to see you. And to our left, a truly unusual site, which is unused land. I think if I remember correctly, I think Con Ed owns it. Obviously, it must be some of the most valuable real estate in New York City. It probably is environmentally difficult to develop, like I said, because of all the meat processing and God knows what else was happening here over the generations. But unused land sitting next to 42nd Street in Manhattan, can you imagine how valuable it must be with waterfront views? Unbelievable. And then obviously every building around it doesn't want it to be developed because they'll lose their views. But so it goes. So it goes. Ambrose is here. Princess would love to own that land. Me too. Maybe if I put up a tent, if I sit in my tent for enough years, do you get squatters' rights? Ambrose thought the Con Ed workers were the UN peacekeepers. In a way they are, my friend. In a way they are. This area still has the old Bolt Bus signs, but I'm pretty sure Bolt Bus went out of business. Not sure why the signs are still up. So let me show you the other view that I was mentioning as we cross over here. We're going to turn our camera to the right, facing west, and get one more really beautiful view before we head back onto the waterfront. Tom in Vermont says it would be a great mini Central Park. That's actually a really good point. But I think the days of reclaiming land for the use of a park instead of luxury apartments, I feel like the odds are pretty low. Pretty low. All right. We saw the Chrysler. What do you guys think of this view? Memo's here, Brad, John. Good to see everybody. We are in, so let's see, we're at, 37th Street, 1st Avenue. This is the Murray Hill neighborhood. Murray Hill. But we're now going east again. This is our pathway back to the waterfront. So we're gonna pop across the FDR here safely and get back to the waterfront. It does go north a little bit, so we could backtrack, but we're obviously not going to do that today because we're in a little bit of a hurry. But it does go north a little bit. But for a long time there was no waterfront access near the UN, probably for security reasons, I imagine. Though I would also imagine that those same reasons would apply to the FDR, but whatever. So that was obviously the Empire State Building that we saw. But we're going to head back to the waterfront now. Today is a waterfront day. We just have to wait for the lights to change. These are folks coming off the FDR, so they're often going pretty quick. Leela's here. Good to see you. Okay, light should be changing right now. And away we go. We have one more light here, and then we'll be back on the water. I see people crossing, and we just have to look for bikes. Okay, we're okay. One last view of the Pepsi Cola sign. "59th Street Bridge," and like I said, you can continue up the path a little bit, and then eventually, years from now, they'll connect all the dots here. This is the 34th Street Pier, where you can collect the New York City ferry. And again, I have a video posted this very day of a ride on the New York City ferry that goes by the 34th Street slips. And like I was saying, the view of the Empire State Building as the boat pulls in is one of the great New York City views. So I hope you'll check that out. But we're going to continue hightailing it down the East River to see if we can get to the Brooklyn Bridge. And again, this is the Gabe special. This is his streaming land. Hope he'll forgive us. But today is an East River Walk day. Love says I can see my house from there. Hey, that's cool. In Long Island City. That's awesome. There's a New York City ferry. This one is called Spring Mallard. That's a cool name. If you look up the New York City ferry on Wikipedia, one of the sections has the names of the boats. One is called Fairy Godmother. One is called Lunchbox. This one is Spring Mallard. They have some exceptional names. Yeah, Patricia in Gettysburg, this is a perfect day to run. It's like it's perfectly cool. It's not cold. It's certainly not hot. No rain. It's just like a beautiful day to run. And there's Spot at the Children's Hospital, a massive Dalmatian with a full-size New York City taxi perched on the snout. Again, check out our First Avenue video from recently if you would like to see more of Spot. We're continuing south along the water. Another medical center system to our right. Patricia says, do you pay to get on the ferry or is it free? So the New York City ferry, they just raised rates. It used to be $2.75, which was the same price as the subway. They just raised it for... Let me cross back over, this is safer. So it's $4 per person now. It's still an incredibly good deal. They're losing a ton of money on it, so I'm happy to take full advantage of the subsidies. The Staten Island ferry is free. And then there's other, there's commuter ferries. I'm not as familiar with the pricing on the commuter ferries. And then obviously there's stuff like the Circle Line. Let's go back to the waterfront. No need to walk through a parking lot. The other ones, you know, like the Circle Line will get you far closer to the Statue of Liberty, for example, but it'll cost you 10 times as much. So it just depends on, you know, what you want to pay. That ferry is called Cyclone Shark. Denise Clark says, is rent there over $1,000 per month? Oh yeah. Who spend $1,000 who are in, you know, what are called rent stabilized apartments. But the number of rent stabilized apartments gets smaller every year. And so market rate, a 1-bedroom in New York City, probably somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000. You can obviously spend more depending on the location and the amenities, and you can spend less if you live in a walk-up, you know, not near public transportation. But probably a good average would be somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000 a month for a 1-bedroom. And that's probably going to get you, you know, somewhere between 400 and 700 square feet. So not a lot of space, but a lot of bucks. And if anybody wants to fact check me, feel free. But I think that's a pretty good, pretty reasonable range, pretty realistic. There's a great website called Street Easy. Maybe S. Fields can put the link in the chat, which if you want to look at the prices of New York City apartments, that's my favorite one. There's many websites that do that, but that's my favorite one. Touring spot is at First Avenue. So spot is at 34th Street between First Avenue and FDR at the Children's Hospital. This is Waterside Plaza. We'll go as far as we can, but we might have to cut in because of construction. And I'm trying to think, and maybe S. Fields has seen enough recent commutes. Is it dumb for me to walk straight? Or should I just detour from here? I'd prefer not to have to backtrack. Gettysburg, ma'am. Yeah, you can search on YouTube, and there are some hysterical videos of tours of New York City apartments. They will they will destroy any illusions you may have about living in New York City. All right, we're gonna go straight and hope for the best. Again, walking next to the East River with some really gorgeous views. There's another New York City ferry flying by. Ambrose says straight through the building. No, there's a pathway here, but sometimes it's closed. Sometimes the pathways over here are closed and you have to backtrack a little bit. My favorite apartment video, it might have been like a Instagram story or something, I forget where I saw it. The tiniest apartment you ever saw had like a half kitchen and no bathroom. Tiny, tiny, tiny studio. And at the end they're like, it's 1995, so 1,000. For buying, the old rule of thumb used to be $1,000 a square foot. So, for example, 750 square feet would be $750,000. But that number's been inching up considerably. So a lot of places now are more like 1250 square foot or even beyond. And in one of our live streams, we talked about the dreaded maintenance fee, which is when you buy an apartment, you still have monthly fees that you pay on top of the mortgage and taxes. You have to pay for the operations of the building and certain amenities like doormen, sometimes energy, et cetera, et cetera. Oh, New York City. Quite a challenge. And yet we love it. Leela says a place with the same square footage as my condo in Augusta, Georgia is $8,500 in New York City. We're gonna have to turn the diaper fund into the lotto ticket fund. What do you guys think? Let me cross over here. No cars coming in any direction. So this is our next detour. We have to get out and about next to Stuyvesant town before our next path back to the Greenway for a little bit. Then we get to East River Park, and then there's another detour. Day of detours. David says no bathroom, so that it has a shared bathroom somewhere on the floor. You share it with all your neighbors. But yeah, the alternative would be, what are those things called? Chamber pot? Can you imagine spending $2,000 a month and having to resort to a chamber pot? My beautiful wife Lisa is here. Good to see you. On that topic, her favorite Instagram account is got the number 2 go NYC, which highlights the best public restrooms in New York City. Thunder jug, oh my God. You guys crack me up. Thunder jug. That is very evocative. Really paints a picture for you. Let's see what the gas prices are today. Any guesses? New York City gas prices are not cheap, obviously, but they're not like California. But I really don't have a guess. I'd say regular $4. That's my guess. Let's go find out. Patricia 525 Touring says 3. Let's go find out. All right, I'm supposed to turn, but I just want to go see what the price is before we turn. Whoa, I was so wrong. $5.99. $5.99. I was totally wrong. I thought they were lower for a little bit. Silly me. All right, let's head across. We have to cut across. Due to the detour. No cars. Got our light. This is Asher Levy. Little community pool. Bottomless coffee. $3.30 in the surrounding areas. That makes sense. I mean, it's Manhattan. Everything more expensive in Manhattan. But my vote is $2.75 gets you anywhere on the city on public transportation. And it's free if you walk. $5.99. I mean, obviously, like, it's more expensive in Manhattan in general, and then to be over here, there's not a lot of gas stations in the city. Some of them are in the parking garages, and there are a handful, but there's not many gas stations. So it's not like other places where, you know, every corner has a gas station. It's not like that here. So it is obviously going to be more expensive. And then on top of that, you have to get it to the island. So it's why our boxes of Cheerios cost so much as well. So to our right, Stuyvesant Town, and then Alphabet City. This is Avenue C that we're on. Well, Leela, it's between the price and then all the construction that's going on. I think they must have jacked up their prices because cars can basically not even get into that gas station very easily now. So they're probably just trying to make whatever they can make on whoever is so desperate that they figure out how to get in there. So we'll walk up to this intersection, then we can go back to the waterfront for a while. And this will be an area called Stuyvesant Cove. Again, we're next to Stuyvesant Town, the big development. There's also Peter Cooper Village and Stuyvesant Town. It's really beautiful over here. These developments look completely different than other parts of the city. So 23 to 20 is Peter Cooper, 20 down Stuyvesant Town. And yes, S. Fields, another Gabe tribute. Hope he's doing well. Like you, I try to get as much sleep as I can with the kiddo, so I'm not on his morning walks too much these days. Ooh, is our waterfront access gone? I guess the detour continues, folks. I'm sorry, I was mistaken. This is, for me, a new detour. Huh. Okay, well, we'll have to detour a little bit more, sorry. Oh yeah, photos. The West Village gas station does have great graffiti. Good point. Anytime I'm going to meatpacking, you know, like near Gansevoort, I see that gas station. You're right, really good art. Eleanor says, first time on our channel, are we related to Dutch Moz? You sound very much like him. First of all, I take that as a high compliment. No, we are not related, but sorry, just trying to safely cross. We're not related, but two great admirers of each other in New York City, and we've met in real life. But good to see you, and thanks for being here. Zalmir's here as well. Good to see everybody. This would be a reminder, do not bike on the sidewalk. Unfortunately. Even when there's no biking infrastructure, you're supposed to walk your bike. or risk an unfortunate encounter and a ticket. Ugh, that sucks though. Those guys work so hard. Coming up ahead is Con Edison facility, south of 18th Street here. And I guess we should be able to walk into the waterfront from here, I'm hoping. Hey, Lizzie's here. Good to see you. Cassio. Lots of friends hanging on out today. Man, bro's going to jail. Oh. Ooh, I had a really bad encounter yesterday. Not me personally, but just something I witnessed. I was on the subway, and there's a big thing right now about fare evasion, and I'm not going to get into the politics of fare evasion, but some kids, I guess, hopped the turnstile. And when I say kids, they were children. Which means they also probably have New York City student Metro cards, which gives them basically, access to the subways. So not really, in my view, a high priority for enforcement, but whatever. Again, trying not to get into the politics of this. Anyways, a guy paid for them to avoid any trouble with the authorities who were there. And then I guess, I don't know if they were his kids or what, but he basically had a massive panic attack after that. Oh, it was so scary. He I guess, just got really upset about, the kids interacting with the police. It was really, really, really upsetting for him. So that was unfortunate. Really unfortunate. Activity 79, good to see you. So here we are, Stuyvesant Cove. Again, ferry stop there. The video I posted this morning of the New York City ferry you can see. And we're back on the waterfront. Yeah, Gettysburg, man, they're really scary. The nice thing was we were on the subway at that point, and in true New York City fashion, every New Yorker came to his aid. So the way I noticed it was this guy near me had kind of like put his arm on the other guy, and when I got on, it didn't seem like they were, they weren't riding together. So I was like, oh, that's weird, what's going on? And he was, this gentleman was taking care of the other person. Then another woman stepped in, and then I always carried bottles of water for my walks, so I gave him a bottle of water. So, all the New Yorkers did what you want people to do, which was come to his aid. And then I think eventually they got him off the subway, I think. I had to go, but, it was good to see a little glimpse of the real New York hospitality coming to one's aid. RJ says, curious, are you born and raised in New York City? Nope, from Texas. But I've been in the city now for 19 years. So we are a New Yorker, but not by birth. S. Fields, yeah, subway does sound like an awful place to have a panic attack. And it happens probably more than you think. The worst is in the summer, because our subways, the stations are not air conditioned. And so anybody who's like really familiar with New York City, if I say Union Square, you probably have immediate recollection of how hot that station gets. And so what'll happen is people will pass out on the platform. You see that all the time, which is why I'm a huge proponent of them adding barriers. I mean, for many reasons, but that's among the reasons. Low ceiling, yeah, I mean, there's all sorts of reasons. if you're really claustrophobic, the 191st Street subway station has a underground street. It's basically a tunnel because uptown Manhattan is super, super, super hilly. And so there's this underground street that gets you from one avenue to the other, but it's hundreds of feet underground and only artificial lights. I love it. I have a video of it. If you look in my back in the archives of my videos, I have a very short video of it, 191st Street subway station. But if you're claustrophobic, that's probably not the place for you. RJ says, having been raised in the city, I always say there's nothing that can surprise me. It all happens in New York City. I think that's right. I mean, when you put 8 million people together in a relatively small space, everything's going to happen. You're so right. Robin's here. Good to see you. Turing says, how about adding air conditioning to the subway system? Well, they were supposed to add cell phone service. So cell phones work in the stations, but not in the tunnels. And even that took years and years. So with the current budget situation, we will not be getting any additional amenities anytime soon. So this is an unfortunate little spot on the Greenway here. It gets super narrow, as you can see. S Fields, but the urine smell is free. Hysterical. All right, so we're coming up to the East River Park. If anybody was on our Sunset Hudson River walk recently, you remember me talking near Battery Park City about doing work to make the area more resilient to flooding. So this is the same area, or rather they're doing something very similar here on the east side. So they've closed a ton of this park because it has to be raised a bunch of feet so that the surrounding area doesn't flood next time there's a hurricane or whatever. It is hugely controversial because people are going to lose their park for years, but obviously it doesn't help anybody if their apartment floods. So controversial, and I want to mention that. That was cool. That guy was juggling as he jogged. Good for him. So the reason I mention this is normally I would walk left again along the water, but since so much of it is closed, I'm going to have to go on this pathway anyways, so we're just going to take the pathway. We're just going to take the pathway. But we're getting much closer. I see the Williamsburg Bridge, which means we're entering the BMW. B, Brooklyn, M, Manhattan, W, Williamsburg. We're entering the BMW bridges. We're at the W, which means we're getting closer and closer to the B, which is our goal. So we're going to take this, cut up. We have to go around this detour. and then hopefully get back to the waterfront pretty soon. And if I remember correctly, and if the detours have not changed, if anybody remembers where the interactive Van Gogh exhibit was, I think that's around where we can get back on the waterfront. Ambrose says, known as a joggler. I'm impressed. Ooh, and we have a viewer from Marseille. Hey, good to see you. Do you know our good friend Naboul, who streams from the beautiful south of France? If you don't, check him out. The joggler. I'm impressed. So this is the Houston Street overpass. Oh no, this is not the Houston Street. What is this? This is the Houston one has, you're on the FDR. So where are we? We must be at like 8th Street? Yeah, I guess we'll find out soon enough. I guess we'll find out soon enough. 10th Street. All right. So does that make these, are these the Jacob Riis houses that were in the news for a long time? If somebody has a Google map up, would that make these the Jacob Riis houses? Yeah, there's the sign, Jacob Riis houses. They were in the news because there was concern about the quality of the drinking water in them, and there was a lot of back and forth on what was going on there. Ambrose says Pier 36 for Van Gogh. Okay, we're headed in that direction next. So that'll be a little south of the Williamsburg Bridge, which is the big bridge you see coming into frame now. So we'll have to go, it'll probably be at least a mile, I would think. Something like that. And we're at 37% battery, so cutting it close. I do have an extra battery, but it's going to be a pain to have to use that. And we also lose the mic, so I'm hopeful we may not cross the bridge today, but I'm hopeful we'll get to the Brooklyn Bridge, get some good views. And since I didn't have lunch, maybe I'll go to Defara. There's a Defara here now, and I've never tried it. I've never tried this location. Frequent viewers of the channel may know we are pizza fanatics, and Defara is one of the most historic pizzerias in New York City. ER says New York City used to have the cleanest drinking water in the country. Yeah, I think people still think highly of drinking water in New York City generally, but this is public housing, and there's been a long history of maintenance issues, meaning they're not well maintained. People go years begging them to fix certain things, and for whatever reason they don't get fixed. And I guess that extends to the plumbing. It's really unfortunate. People deserve clean drinking water. That should go without saying. And no mold in their apartment. Nobody deserves that. So you can see lots of construction going on at the East River Park down here. Hopefully it'll all get fixed up ASAP so we can get back. But in the meantime, we will walk along the scenic FDR Drive. Just crossing 6th Street now. Beautiful. Another Gabe special. I guess this stream in honor of walking commuter. Missy's here from Sweden. Yeah, S-Fields is correct. If you enjoy it, that's all that matters. Whatever makes you happy, what works for your budget, that's all that matters. I'll give you a real controversial take. Emmett's on McDougal Street. They make Chicago-style pizza, and it's really good. So that's my hot take for the day. People deserve clean drinking water, and Emmett's Chicago-style pizza is very good. These hot takes brought to you by Bagels and Walks. Simone is here from Florence, Italy. Hey, Simone. We went and saw, like an hour ago, we were on a little park in Sutton Place, which has a wild boar modeled after the famous statue of a wild boar in your town, Florence, Italy. What a small world. Thanks for being with us. S-Fields will have any pizza as long as it's not Sparrow's. Sparrow's I think of as the least bad option in an airport when you don't want to spend $60. That's my take on Sparrow. And as long as they put it back in the oven, you're very unlikely to get food poisoning. There's another tagline, Sparrow. If it's reheated, it won't give you food poisoning. So this is the Houston Street overpass I was mentioning. I'm all turned around, folks. All these detours. So we have to cross the street. Oh, this is so stupid. Do they make me go around? Oh my God. Okay, so the correct way to, but we'll go the incorrect way. We'll cross over here. Mengen Street, another example of the weird, small New York City streets that a lot of people probably are less familiar with. There's a little pedestrian path, so we'll just take that when it's safe to do so. And we are on Houston Street, not Houston Street, but Houston Street. Not named after Sam Houston. And across the water, when we get into a better spot, I'll show it a little better. But you can see in the distance the Domino Sugar Factory. But let's head back over to the FDR. ER says, I miss pizza almost as much as I miss bagels. So ER, you're in Phoenix, right? And we talked about Phoenix pizza. Am I remembering correctly? There's the Domino Sugar Factory. And there's the Williamsburg Bridge. Beautiful. Lots of really fun views despite all the construction going on. Does it have cactus, Ambrose asks. So I was telling the story that my dad and I were on a road trip once, and as a big fan of pizza, I was familiar with that one of the most famous pizzerias in America, of all places, was in Phoenix, by a guy named Chris Bianco. And the short version of the story is my dad was skeptical to begin with, and then it was only open for dinner, and we got there around lunchtime, so we had to wait 4 hours, and he got mad. Every hour that went by, madder and madder and madder. But when we did finally have the pizza, he was like, yeah, this is some of the best pizza I've ever had in my life. But the reason I bring it up is Netflix has a show called Chef's Table, which some of you may have seen, and then they have they have two new series, Chef's Table Pizza and Chef's Table Barbecue. And the first episode of Chef's Table Pizza is about Chris Bianco and his Phoenix pizzeria. So we watched it. It's an excellent episode. He's a super interesting guy from New York, and it talks about all of that. It's super interesting, so check that out if you're into that sort of thing. Highly recommend it, and it will make you so hungry that the production values on those Chef's Table shows are unbelievable. It will make you so hungry. They make everything look so beautiful and delicious. And part of the story Ambrose was asking about cactus is how they do actually use sort of products made in and around Phoenix. We're at Delancey Street, but what's going on here? God, the number of detours. I gotta say, folks, this is a difficult walk today. If you compare this to our walk on the west side with 0 detours, this is ridiculous. Traffic jam. This is the Williamsburg Bridge we're underneath. Yeah, one day Caleb will make me go somewhere, wait 5 hours as I get so frustrated. But it will turn out he was right all along. And look at this, now I'm boxed in. I'm boxed in, folks. Unbelievable. Well, I don't know that I would recommend this walk right now around these parts. This is a little absurd. And look, the sidewalk, they're just blocking the sidewalk oh, what a mess. What a mess. Technogirl's here, sick of the Texas heat. Wow. Look at that view of the Williamsburg, isn't that beautiful? The bridges in New York City really are magnificent. That's why we are doing today's walk. We love our bridges. All right, so we have passed the Williamsburg. Now we're going to look for Pier 36. I believe that's where we can cut in back over to the Greenway, aka the Esplanade, aka the waterfront. Sajad is here. Good to see you. coming up on Grand Street. We are in the Lower East Side of Manhattan. We may be back to this area tomorrow if life allows for Lunar New Year festivities. So stay tuned. Hopefully that will work out. No cars coming. William from Brooklyn is here. Hey, good to see you, William. Hope all's well, and I hope you're feeling better. Hopefully you are feeling better. Sal Muscles, good to see you. S. Field says, is it appropriate to say Happy New Year? Is that appropriate? I don't know the answer to that, but let's say Happy New Year. I don't think it's inappropriate. Cherry Street, one of the more beautifully named streets in New York City. Let me just make sure nobody's coming. Nobody's coming. And this is Corlier's Hook Park. But last time we tried to walk through it, it was closed. So we're going to go around it today. Ooh, we are getting a workout today, folks. Let me check the watch in a minute and see what our stats are today. Let's see. 2 hours, 2 minutes, 750 active calories, 128 beats per minute on the heart rate, 17 minutes, 13 seconds average pace, and we're at 7 miles, 0.09. Ooh, and a gigantic $20 donation from ER Trauma RN. Love your walks, thank you. Have a pizza on me, whoa. Hey, thank you so much for that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 20 times over. Can't thank you enough for your support and company, hanging on out with all of us. We appreciate you. 20 big ones. I will definitely take you up on that. We will have a pizza. Today I may start with some slices at the Detour at South Street Seaport. But hey, thank you so much for that. Oh, did I miss another? Oh my gosh. And Gettysburg Ma'am, $5, have to run. Have a safe rest of your weekend, everyone from Pennsylvania. Hey, Gettysburg Ma'am, thank you, thank you, thank you, 5 times over. We appreciate you too. Thank you. Super generous, everybody. Thank you for the support and the encouragement. We love sharing these walks with you. Jackson Street. Again, Lower East Side, moving into the, as we get closer to the Manhattan Bridge, we're moving into the Two Bridges neighborhood. It's really just the Lower East Side, but everything's got a cool name now for real estate purposes. Two Bridges, the Manhattan and Brooklyn Bridge. Water Street to our right. So one day I tried to walk down this little path and it just ends in the fence here. There's another path that does let out, but this path does not let out, unfortunately. And I didn't feel like backtracking. So we're gonna get back to FDR Drive and look for Pier 36, taking us back to the waterfront. Sal says, my walk this morning, only 1,700. Said, hey, you got out there, you got your steps. That's all that matters. All that matters. And if you're not able to get your steps, we're doing it for you. We have lots of viewers who, it's really beautiful. They let us know, you know, they have difficulty getting out. or even if they can get out, we do the sort of walks that they're not able to. And it's always really moving to know that we're helping to walk and show them things that they, couldn't otherwise see. So it all counts, is my point. And Robojacks, I will not try to pronounce that, but appreciate that. I have been to China twice, but I have to say I really did not learn the language at all. And actually, it was really funny. Last time I was there, I was with somebody whose family is from Taiwan, and she spoke Taiwanese. And even though there's, as I understand it, real similarities between that and Chinese, people would, I don't know if it was real or they were just sort of pretending, but they would pretend not really to understand her. But it might have been a little bit of a game. Last time we did this walk, people really liked this building. So this is Governor's Slip. And for a more recent comparison, we walked Central Park West recently and saw the New York City Cancer Hospital, which has a very similar look to this. And what I said at the time was, at least in my experience, when you see buildings with these round features, it often turns out that they were medical in nature. This is really beautiful. So we're at Governor's Slip, but spelled in the old British manner. Really beautiful buildings down here. The Lower East Side is one of my favorite parts of New York City because it just has really high density of these older buildings. What is this? Sidewalk closed, cross here. Okay. Telling somebody to cross FDR Drive is not something I'm super confident in. Okay. But as you can see by this walk, this is not a heavily trafficked pedestrian area for fairly obvious reasons. Here we are, Montgomery Street, which means we are at Pier 36. We did it. So we're going to cross here. I'm actually going to go behind the building because it's pretty incredible. And this should take us the rest of the way. We've done it, folks. You'll see in a moment when I get to the back of this building, you will see all of our bridges. I'm chalking this down as a win. But let's go around the building and you'll see some pretty cool sights, I hope. Photos asks, are we going to pass the tin building? Yeah, we might. Assuming the battery will last, we might see it. Tick Tick is here. So we are back on the waterfront, folks. Sorry, that was a massive detour. As Prince Ice said, today's trademark, Detour. This is the Detour tour. And if you're looking for content like this, the Detour tour, leave a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. More detours coming to you soon. Sean has to head out. Have a nice walk and a good day, everybody. Hey, thanks for being here. Thanks for hanging on out. To all of our Winnipeg friends. Here it is, 2 bridges and the Statue of Liberty. Oh, Look at this view. Let me zoom in for you guys. This is spectacular. How good is that? And the reason there are a bunch of folks waiting over here is some of the harbor cruises pick up here and to take you to the Statue of Liberty, or take you around the Statue of Liberty, I guess. Tourist helicopter above us. And what is this? Event Cruises NYC and Top View Cruises. So Top View is the tour bus company, so I guess they have a partnership with Liberty Cruise. Pier says that view is priceless. I would agree wholeheartedly. It's a view worthy. Lots of folks here for the That's pretty good, huh?
Top view.
99% of the folks are there in the standard line, and there were 2 people standing in the premium line. I wonder what the price difference is. So here we are, folks. We have the Manhattan Bridge. So we saw the W in BMW, which was the Williamsburg. Now we're at the M, and up next is the B, so the Manhattan Bridge, with a beautiful New York City subway going across it as we speak, and a helicopter over top. Dumbo, right across the water, Brooklyn. And just in the distance, the B, Brooklyn Bridge. Beautiful. And we've talked about this before. Brooklyn is definitely my favorite bridge. I mean, it's so historic, it's beautiful. It is an icon of New York City. And the walk on it is really pleasant. Especially now, they've separated the bike and the walking lanes, so it's really nice. But if you do the Manhattan Bridge, you get to take pictures of the Brooklyn Bridge. And we did that at night recently with one of the best New York City sunsets that we've had in a long time. Here, check out this little park over here. Isn't this nice? This is partly why I wanted to go around, not just the views, but show you guys this little park. This little public seating area. Got folks doing some bike tricks. Got folks on the swings. Oh, I love it over here. And as our good friend Dutch would say, the Prince Purple Highway. The calming purple color of the FDR down here in Lower Manhattan. And as we make a left, we will walk underneath the Purple Highway to the Manhattan Bridge and to the Brooklyn Bridge. Sal, we were at the Queensboro, or nearby it at least, towards the beginning of the stream. But I'll tell you guys, that is my least favorite bridge to walk. It's a beautiful bridge from the outside, but walking on it, to me at least, is a nightmare. The path is too narrow, and bikes and pedestrians share it. And I have seen so many accidents, so many collisions, that I don't know that I'll ever walk it again, to be honest. It really I've just seen stuff that is so upsetting. The views are amazing. The bridge is beautiful, but I think I might be done with it. This is the Manhattan Bridge. Really, really gorgeous. With the New York City ferry going underneath. What a view. Waiting for the train to pass. So this is Pike Slip, which in a little while becomes Pike Street, which in a little while becomes Allen Street, which after that is First Avenue. So we did a First Avenue video. I posted it maybe yesterday, I guess, from the Upper East Side. And if you take First Avenue all the way down, if you stay on First Avenue and you keep going and you keep going and you keep going, this is where you end up. Right here, right in this spot. Yeah, ER, they did change the paths on the Brooklyn Bridge. It is, when I say infinitely better, it's very hard to overstate how much better it is now. It's so much more pleasant for everybody. All right, so we've seen the Manhattan Bridge, our next stop, the Brooklyn Bridge, which has been our goal for today's walk. We've done it, folks. We're not going to cross today because I'm going to go have lunch at the Seaport. But we're going to see the Brooklyn Bridge, and if the battery allows, we will show photos, the Tin Building, and get some good views from the South Street Seaport. So that is our next destination. Colleen says, which bridge do I not want to do anymore? The 59th Street Bridge that we went by. I would just do the tram. The tram is way more fun anyways. And if you had to go farther than the tram, I would just take the subway. If it were me. Others may have a different opinion. The beautiful Brooklyn Bridge, that's the Brooklyn Tower. Dumbo, Jane's Carousel, Brooklyn Bridge Park, Pebble Beach is in the frame, naming the neighborhood, 2 bridges here on the Lower East Side. As we continue underneath the Prince Purple Highway, and that's the Manhattan Tower of the Brooklyn Bridge. And for anybody who wants to learn more about the Brooklyn Bridge, I'll give you 2 resources. The first on YouTube is our good friend Dutch Maz, licensed New York City tour guide, and the Brooklyn Bridge really is his office, knows it inside and out. And if you want to hear stories about the Roeblings who designed and built the bridge, Dutch really has you covered. And then resource number 2 is the Ken Burns documentary. I think it's his first documentary. It's available on PBS, and I'm sure other places, but you can get it through PBS. His documentary on the Brooklyn Bridge is so fascinating. The history of it is really unbelievable. So I'll give the briefest overview, and obviously feel free to correct me anywhere I'm mistaken. Man, more detours. Folks, I'm losing my mind today. This truly is the Detour tour. So John Roebling designs the bridge, conceives it. During survey work for the bridge, he's standing by the waterfront doing survey work. A boat comes in, his foot gets stuck. The boat crushes his foot, leading to an incredibly painful death because he did not believe in standard medical treatment. So the creator designer of the bridge dies doing survey work for the bridge. His son, Washington Roebling, takes over. During the building of the bridge, and specifically those towers that we just saw, he develops what we now know as Caisson's disease, and basically becomes totally bedridden. His wife, Emily Roebling, then helps to take over. He basically watches the construction of the bridge from a window at his bedroom. But his wife, Emily, is the on-site head of construction. And thanks to Emily, the bridge is completed. And there is a really beautiful plaque on the bridge giving credit, well-deserved credit, to Emily Roebling, without whom we would not have the Brooklyn Bridge. But the whole story, if you want to learn more about this story, watch any of Dutch's Brooklyn Bridge live streams and check out the Ken Burns documentary. It's really just a bizarre, fascinating tale. And if you know Gangs of New York, there's Tammany connections to the bridge. I mean, the whole bridge story is a saga. It's really incredible. So I highly recommend learning more about the Brooklyn Bridge. And hopefully we'll be able to cut to the left at a second because we're about to go underneath the Brooklyn Bridge. And it's kind of disappointing not to be showing it to you, even as we talk about it. So stupid. All right, let's see. I don't want to hit anybody, so I'm going to cross here and be on this side so that the jogger has space. Jogger, not joggler. And then the moment we can cut across, I will show you guys the bridge again, but how disappointing at the moment. This is the Detour tour. I guess it's another detour I didn't know about. I'm going to start selling tickets to the Detour tour. now entering the Seaport with the beautiful historic architecture of the old New York City waterfront. Brooklyn Bridge to our left, Pier 17 up ahead, South Street Seaport to our right. And let me cross here, assuming there's no bikes, and show you guys the bridge. On this, the Detour tour. Bet you didn't know there was a Detour tour of Manhattan. Ambrose, not everybody does. All right, that's a pretty good view, huh? And there's a little beach right beneath us, the water crashing. Not many birds today. And here we are, Pier 17. Let's go see the Tin Building, and then we'll walk a little bit around Pier 17 with some more beautiful bridge views. But folks, we have accomplished our goal. We have reached all the way from the Upper East Side of Manhattan, the Brooklyn Bridge. Truly one of the most beautiful New York City sights that there is. It does not get much better than this. Up ahead, there's the Tin Building, which is a brand new Jean-Georges food hall. And Pier 17, home to a number of restaurants. South Street Seaport, also home to a number of restaurants and activities. There's a nice rooftop. They do concerts up there. There's movie theater. And where I'm probably going to get lunch today, assuming it's open, is the recently opened Dafara Pizza right there. So hopefully after we're done, I'll head over there. But let's walk up and around and let's check out some of this nice art, street art here. This is pretty cool looking. Oh, I like this one. You are not alone. Yep. You are not alone. You are not alone. Wow. And we're behind this. In Crisis 988. 988 is the new number if you're having a mental health crisis. You need to reach out to anybody. 988 in the United States is our new number. Wow, that was really powerful. I'm glad we saw that. And then here it is. This is the Tin Building. Ambrose says on the rooftop. Oh, there's a rooftop ice skating rink too. So I know there's the ice skating rink right there. There's one on the rooftop also. That's cool. Ooh, this wasn't open the last time I was here, I don't think. So I'll pop into the Tin Building after the stream. I'll check that out and report back to you folks. This ice skating rink is particularly fun to see at night because I don't know if you can see it, but there's strands of lights over it. And at night, it looks so beautiful. We did have a live stream where we started in Dumbo, ended up over here, and we did catch the light show. It was really beautiful. There's the waiver tree.
Everyone to check in, please have your QR code ready to go. Please have your QR code ready to go. If you are
which does offer tours.
You'll need to have a waiver filled out. You can scan one of our waiver QR codes.
So again, this is the Seaport area, and if you want to learn more about the Seaport and the history, there's lots of free historical stuff over here.
Your seats ready. Please exit the
Patty's here. Brad. Robojacks asks why Tin Building. I don't know why it's called that. I don't know. I don't know if that was maybe a historic name for that, for a building that used to. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. My guess would be that something here was called that previously, but that's just a guess. We're gonna walk around Pier 17, ending back and ending the stream with a really gorgeous view of the Brooklyn Bridge. So, as they say, hang on to your hats, folks. Suke, totally agree. I'm really glad we got to see that. That was really cool and powerful. Let's walk down here. Oh, before we go in, let me just show you a quick shot of Lower Manhattan, including our leaning tower. Derelict asks, how is the temperature right now by the water? So it's in the low 40s today, and at the moment it's not super windy, so we're doing okay. We're doing okay. I usually tell people, near the water in the harbor, to be ready for a decent amount of wind. But so far it's not too bad, so it's pretty nice. In the distance here is Governor's Island. There's a Staten Island ferry coming in. So this right here is the Governor's Island ferry, and then just beyond it, but here we are, folks, coming to the end of our stream. Let's look at our stats as we make our way around.
What's your exit from I don't think I have.
Oh my God, this guy's getting all the alpha over here.
Honestly.
2 hours, 32 minutes, 931 calories burned, 17 minutes, 16 second pace, and we're at 8.86 miles. So just under a 9-mile walk today. With each of you, we headed from the Upper East Side of Manhattan, the old German Yorkville neighborhood. We saw Carl Schurz Park, Gracie Mansion, which is home to the mayor of New York City. Ooh, check this out, check this view. Woolworth, and peeking out, One World Trade. Let's see, how many detours do we think we did today? Was this a 10 detour walk? Ooh, let me find the best connection. I don't want to end on a bad connection. Let's find where we have a good connection. This is better. This is better. Okay, Ambrose says tin building because it's the building made of metal. All right, folks, coming to the end here. We achieved our objective today despite probably 10 detours. We have walked the East River from just about 86th Street. We actually walked north a little bit because of the Gracie Mansion. Call it 86th Street down to South Street. So we've even run out of numbers. So we went from numbers and beyond to here at Pier 17, the South Street Seaport, with a beautiful, gorgeous, stunning, iconic view of my favorite bridge, the Brooklyn Bridge. Dumbo in the distance, Brooklyn Bridge Park. Governor's Island behind us. And somewhere in the distance, somewhere out there is the Statue of Liberty. And here, BMW. the Brooklyn, the Manhattan, and the Williamsburg bridges. Ambrose says, and we passed first and first, the nexus of the universe. If you're new to the channel, which our new friend Patty is a little new to the channel, check out some of our other videos. We now have hundreds and hundreds of videos, and we do a mix of recorded walks. I basically throw a camera on and take you on actual New York City walks that I take every day. And we've been doing more and more live streams. We love hanging on out with everybody. It's been a fun one. I'm gonna sit here. I'm beat, folks. I'm beat and I'm hungry. But today was the Detour tour of the East River Greenway. Oh! This week we posted videos of First Avenue and a couple of the New York City Ferry, which is one of my favorite ways to get around the city, so check those out. And then fingers crossed that we will be live again tomorrow to celebrate Lunar New Year live from Chinatown. So hopefully that'll work out. So signing off live from Pier 17, sitting and staring agog at the Brooklyn Bridge. Patty, Dusty, Esfield, Suke, ER, Terry, Ambrose, Robojax, touring different places. And all of our friends, new and old, who've joined us today. Have a great day, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday. And if we don't see each other tomorrow, have a happy Lunar New Year. And we'll hang out again real soon. Take care, everybody. Bye.